The heyday, so to speak, of serial murder was in the 70s and 80s. We had far more serial killers back then than we do now. And evidence of that is the fact that when we see documentaries and movies about serial killers, they focus on Bundy and Gacy and the legacy killers of the past. There's really no high profile.
Okay, John, go ahead. What I tell you is what I know is fair.
I'm a power person. I enjoy power. Nobody else had the guts to pull off what I pulled off. I outsmarted you again.
Police today found 6 more bodies
under the home of suspected killer John Gacy.
Well, you can be walking down the street, and if Gacy lay eyes on you, you have now become his next victim.
I know society will never be able to forgive me. I know the families of the victims will never be able to forgive me for what I have done. Your Honor, it is over now.
Welcome all you true crime lovers. Sit back, grab that blanket and hot beverage, and prepare for another Saturday night of The Murder Show. Whose mind and story will we dive into tonight? Now for your host, Tim, and alongside him, his co-host, Criminology, Chris, and Classroom Jackie.
Alrighty, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to another fantastic episode here on this Sunday night to The Murder Show. That's right, we did things a little bit different for you guys that already watched before and know. We are doing it on a Sunday night tonight, but that's all right, though. Same time and whatever we say, I don't remember. Same crime place, yes.
Same crime time, same crime place.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Good.
So, I am your host, Tim, and alongside of me we have Criminology Chris.
Good evening, everybody.
See, he's ready to go. And then over there we have the Director of Social Media Platforms, Classroom Jackie.
What's up, guys?
So, a few things here before we jump into tonight's killer here. Well, not technically killer with this guy, but don't forget, subscribe to our channel here if you have not yet done so. What that'll do is it'll ding you every time that we go live or however much time beforehand. It helps keep you up to date. We're on all social media platforms, Facebook, TikTok.
We just hit 100 followers on there, by the way.
Yes, just hit 100 followers on TikTok. So
thanks, guys.
That is very, very cool. We appreciate that. That's our large crowd we have sitting outside the wall. And that is at Murder Show for our social medias there. We like to do a shout out. We have 2 sponsors now. We picked up a new sponsor this past week, which is more than I could ever wish for, definitely. So Unique Detail LLC, they're located here in northeastern Ohio. So if any of our fans are around there, hit them up. They are on Facebook too as well. And then our new sponsor is Crafty Corner by Laura. Laura does all handmade crochet items, jewelry, plushies, and more. Check them out. They are on Instagram at Crafty Corner by Laura and Etsy. You can also shoot her on the web there, the Crafty Corner Crochet at gmail.com if you want to get a hold of her.
I actually have a little shark from her, and it is the cutest and softest thing ever.
I believe I need a plush.
Yes.
You should see the possum that she makes. It actually hangs by its tail. It's really cute.
Okay. Cool. Well, I was told she's actually going to make us some things for the studio here. So when we do get some of her stuff, we will definitely share it.
Can we get a possum, please?
Yes. Can we get a possum, please, Laura? But anyways, check out Laura. Like I said, jewelry, plushies, crochet stuff. She's got some really neat things. So now jumping into tonight's meat and potatoes here, we are doing the infamous Charles Manson, which I'm sure most people know just by the name.
He's actually mostly known for the tape murders, but not a lot of people know about his background. So it's exciting to see what we're doing this week.
I don't know about you guys, but I've learned quite a bit looking into his background.
Yeah. I had no idea how things he had done. I mean, you probably obviously know a lot more about him on the West Coast. I mean, I've heard of him. But yeah, I agree with you. A whole lot of detail there that I was, clueless.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because I only knew about him for the Tate, murder,
Right.
definitely, and I knew a little bit like what he did and that kind of stuff. But it's crazy because as we get into this, I don't know if they really classify him as a serial killer because technically he didn't kill.
No, probably not. No.
He, orchestrated the whole thing, which we'll get into. And this is, by the way, I forgot to mention, this is going to be a 2-part series. So part 1 will be tonight, and then next Saturday, usual day and time, 8 p.m., we'll do part 2. So there's just so much here that we unpacked, especially his childhood and leading up to it and all that. If we would have done it in 1, we could have, but you would have really had to skim the surface.
Oh yeah.
So we decided to split this up into 2.
It's like in school when you do the bubble, like you were talking about, when we had to do the bubble method for a subject. Whereas all of the other people we had, it was a couple branches. This is hundreds, and there's 3 big bubbles.
Yeah.
It's just so much detail and so many people involved in this whole crazy amount of information.
It's a mess too when we tried to unpack a lot of it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
trying to
It's a
break it
mess.
down, like actually, year
We
after year.
We originally were working on this Thursday night, and we all were just beat. I mean, we did it for about 2 hours trying to unpack this, and we finally all just looked at each other and we're like, you know what? Forget this, man. We got to call it a night,
They're trying to create a timeline. So, I mean, all in all, you have to pick and choose what you decide to include into this situation. And then I think we really narrowed it down to much of the relevant material that actually applies to, the important aspects of what we're trying to cover here. And trying to tell the story in a way where we're not just dumping details on it.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to get used to this seeing you guys too, by the way.
Yeah,
I've now facing them. I got tired of looking at them and getting the kink in my neck, but this is great though.
It's a nice setup.
We've got
People
some
can see you
upgrades this
now.
week, and Jackie's got a little holder over there, and
Oh hey, your girl's missing her head.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah,
you can see it.
that's Sam. She's missing her head. That's my girlfriend. So, anyways, closest thing I get to it, I guess. I got to take what I can get. No, I don't do anything sexually to it. Anyways, so let's go ahead, and I think Classroom Jackie, you wanted to kind of start things out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to her and kind of let her get things going there, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. Charles Manson was born on November 11th, 1934. Wow, my brain just went by for a second.
30-some year difference. Who cares?
It's close.
He originally didn't have a name. He was born as no name Maddox on his birth certificate.
What?
Looks like Laura's gonna hook you with a.
I'm so excited for
I
the
think
possum.
Chris sounds more excited, but
I'm really excited for the possum. He was born as no name Maddox to 16-year-old Ada Kathleen Maddox in Cincinnati, Ohio, actually. Now we have a couple other killers here in Ohio.
it's making us look great here.
A lot of people came from Ohio.
Luckily, everything that happened to him happened on the West Coast.
So did
we're good.
Marilyn Manson came from Ohio too.
Yeah, he did.
Canton.
He did. He was born in Cincinnati General Hospital, which is currently the site of the University of Cincinnati Hospital today. So it just changed names pretty much. Manson never knew his father. It is believed that his name was Colonel Scott. I can't remember his last name. It was so minor. Scott Sr. was his last name. But the mom, Kathleen, thought that he was an actual colonel in the army and fell for him that way. He was married to another lady, wasn't coming back, and abandoned her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, she seems
Nice
great.
His mother ended up marrying William Eugene Manson in July. That was when Charles got his name of Charles Miles Manson, which was the surname of Kathleen's father.
Okay.
So he was junior, pretty much.
Which, I don't know. I'm not dogging anybody that does it, but it's funny that you mentioned that because we were talking about this at work on Friday that I'm not that in love with my own name that I would name my kid after my name. You know what I mean?
I'm with you. I mean, Especially,
because my name's just bland Tim. There's so many Tims out there, But
yeah.
I mean, each is their own. I get it, but yeah, I'm not that much infatuated with my name. Where it's like
No,
my son's got to be named that.
It's
you
like
know?
an
so
ego
many
booster.
damn
Yes.
Chris's in my life. It's just unreal. I mean, it really
Right.
is.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's a ego booster pretty much. Like
Yeah.
my name is so great, I have to pass it on to my son.
Yeah.
At least change
No.
my name to something cool. I should have done that a long time. Oh well.
I'll try to think
Moving
of a
on.
good name.
While some of Manson's childhood antecedents contradict each other, his extended family said that his young mother used to run away consistently from her home in Ashland, Kentucky, before she started working as a prostitute. Now, later down, when Manson writes his autobiography, he actually had a few thoughts about his mother. He said in later years, because of the hard knocks and tough times, she may have sold her body some. I am not one to knock her about. Knowing the things I know now, I wish my mother had been smart enough to start out as a prostitute. You can sit back and say a statement like that is something that would be expected out of my mouth. But to me, a class 4 is about as honest as a person as there is on earth. She has a commodity that is hers alone. She asks a price for it. If the price is agreeable, the customer is happy. The girl has her rent and grocery money. So he pretty much went to bat saying, like, okay, so my mom did this, so what?
Yeah. Well, hey.
Doesn't help that his mom later gets arrested for that, as well as robbery and drinking and assault.
They all seem to kind of have a habit of being in and out of correctional facilities. Between her and because she got arrested the first time and she was doing a lot of drinking, and then I know Manson.
She actually traded him for a beer, sold him for a beer at a bar when he was a baby.
Oh, that's nice. That's motherly love, I guess.
Yeah, she had such a drinking problem that she was willing to do anything to get her next fixed.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, don't get any ideas, Chris. You're not selling me for a beer, okay? You're not doing it.
His mom did end up getting paroled in 1942. He said later that was some of the happiest times of his life. In the time when she was arrested, he went and lived with his aunt and uncle. Unfortunately, after they came back, lived together, they moved to Indiana and a few different places, he said. His mother did return to drinking a few weeks later. So
Ain't much left to do in Indiana. I mean, what else you can do?
Yeah, I know, right?
This was before basketball and the Pacers. And
Yeah, so everything else, I think they just have corn.
Yeah, they don't really have much going on out there.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do at that point?
Indianapolis is a fun thing, but outside of that, I've been through a lot of towns in Indiana. I don't know.
Yeah, I have some friends that live in Richmond, and you can drive through there in the blink of an eye. You know, you're there 1 minute and you're gone.
Yeah, right.
You're like, wait a minute. Go ahead.
Oh, that's all I have about his mom. She was very brief about her. Now we're going to get into the young offenses.
Yeah, the young offenses. This is where, so embrace yourself, guys, as we're going through this, because
Now, we'll put it this way. There isn't a ton of, like, gore in this, and nothing like last week. There is a couple of mentions of trigger warning, of rape, and a couple little things like that, and drug use and stuff, but nothing super awful.
Trigger warning. So this is kind of where it begins with Manson's first offense. In a interview at 9 years old, he had actually set fire to his school, which, I mean, to me, when that happens, that should probably be like we might have a problem with the kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Especially at 9.
9, and you're setting the school.
And taking credit for it, too.
Yeah. It might be like, well, okay, we should probably maybe get him into some, counseling, or maybe a psychiatrist or something at that point.
I'm curious, do you think they just took his hand and went, don't do it again, or they actually had a conversation with his alcoholic mother?
My thing with him is, and as we go through here, which we've seen, he was he could, get in and, trying to think of the proper word, but he got out in a lot of stuff on good behavior in that.
Oh, he was manipulative.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for. He could manipulate anybody, which is really scary. I've only met a few people like that in life that can kind of manipulate, or pathological liars and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that's how he probably got out of most of his stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he had an innate ability to get people to side with him and to feel for him. To listen to his side of the story and go along with it. And good for him. I mean, I don't know that he was the brightest guy in the world. I believe that he, from what I read, I heard that he was unable to read. Had issues reading.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But at the same time, like, this guy could get you to, would have been a hell of a salesman.
Oh, he could sell a fish a bowl.
That's like, Dennis Rader, he couldn't write. Remember? I mean, he could, but it was all sloppy grammar, and it was horrible reading his poems and notes and stuff. So, repeatedly, Manson was in trouble, getting in trouble, going in and out of correctional facilities. A lot of it was for, truancy, petty theft, all that fun stuff, I guess. At 13, they sent him to a boys' like a good behavior, Catholic?
It's a reform school, pretty much.
Yeah, reform school, Catholic reform school for troubled boys. And that didn't last long because he ended up running away, getting out of there. And he lived under, bridges and in the woods and, kind of like the, lady that we discussed last week, how her and her girlfriend lived.
Yeah, it's like bouncing back and forth and hiding.
So in 1948 was his first documented crime, and I will butcher that word. I've never been good at saying that word, so somebody else can say it.
Robbery?
Yes, I've never been good at that word. Don't ask why, I just never.
No, it's fine.
So it was of a grocery store. And if I remember, no, I think I'm thinking of something else where he went in for like cigarettes or something.
Yeah, he actually got arrested for this, and they let him go with a warning for this one. He didn't get prison time, jail time. It was a warning / parole type thing. But this was before there was trackers and people going to check where you are and things like that.
Okay.
For that one.
At the grocery store?
Yeah.
So
he pretty much, like you said, he got off with a
slap on the wrist.
Slap on the wrist.
Slap on the wrist. You're gonna see this.
He was like what, 12, right?
Yeah, and 48.
Yeah, he was 12. His next one, he's at a honor camp, which is a minimum security institute in Virginia. And that was in October of 1951. His aunt visited him there and actually told administrators she would let him stay at her house and help him find a job. He had a parole hearing in February of 52, but he was caught raping a boy in January.
That's crazy. And so he was literally 1 month away from getting out parole or being up for parole.
Yep.
And then he goes and just does that crime in there, raping the boy, and then it's like, well, there goes.
So he gets in trouble for that, and then gets sent to a higher reform school, a higher one in Petersburg. It was a federal reformatory in Petersburg, Virginia, and he committed a further 8 serious disciplinary offenses, 3 involving homosexual acts, and was moved to a maximum security reformatory in Chillicothe, Ohio.
So it almost sounds like to me, like, because I know once we get ahead more, a lot of his stuff involved women, so it sounds like he could have been maybe bisexual, or maybe he was not sure what he was there when he was young.
But he spent what, 17 years of his life up to 32 in some sort of a correctional system.
Yeah.
So I mean, looking at that, one, you really didn't have a whole hell of a lot of options. I mean, 2, I think by the time he was in like his late teens, early 20s, like it was almost like he was like institutionalized. Like he actually thrived on having the structure that he had in his correctional facility. that he wasn't getting outside of, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, outside of those places, he wasn't able to achieve any sort of normality or any kind of like decent upbringing or some sort of normal life. But within a jail system, he could have those things. He could have structure. He could have, you know, meals a day. He could have, you know, people and whatever and friends, whatever.
Yeah.
Everything that you can't have because everybody's abandoning you or, you know,
Yeah.
leaving you.
So while he was there, he was expected to remain in prison until his 21st birthday, which was in November of 1955. Remember how we said he gets out a lot because of how manipulative? He got out a year early when he was 20 for good behavior.
Thought he was a hell of a guy.
Good
Yeah.
behavior.
I mean, I couldn't even imagine, I guess, talking to him. Maybe he had a way of kind of like putting people in like this trance type thing. Not actually a trance, but because all these people, I mean,
He was actually a hypnotist.
yeah.
Take away that damn guy's watch.
Yeah, right. But no, but I mean, like, because he gets out on all this, unless they were more lenient back then, but nowadays I feel like it wouldn't be like that now, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but this guy must have really had a way with his words, man.
He had to have. He had to.
Yeah.
Well, back then I think there's probably a lot more gray area to make those, like a discretionary sort of thing where you could make those decisions. Now, I think there's more structure to, you did this, you're going to be here at least until this point in time.
Yeah.
You know?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Shortly after his release in January of 55, Manson married a hospital waitress named Rosie Jean Willis. He got her knocked up.
Oh.
They moved out to Los Angeles in a car that he stole from Ohio. Shortly after, BTP, back to prison.
Oh, yeah.
Manson went back to jail again.
Back there. That didn't take him long.
Nope. It was for, the crimes were taking the vehicle across state lines, which is a federal crime. After psychiatrist evaluation, he was given 5 years of probation. Manson's failure to appear at the Los Angeles hearing on an identical charge filed in Florida led him to be arrested and thrown into jail. He sat there with probation revoked and was sentenced to 3 years of imprisonment. During that time, his wife gave birth to their child.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you know, it's just worth saying, but I was thinking about it. You know, he talked about he was only, you know, he said he had 17 years he was behind bars up to the age of 32.
Yeah.
And then he was only out for a year and he went back. I mean, this guy only spent 16 years, or what? Yeah, I think 16 years. Yeah, 16 years out of prison in his entire life.
That's crazy.
If
And
you
how,
think about it.
wow.
Well,
So
up to this arrest, yeah. Because then further down, he will spend the rest of his life.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
what he's saying. Total in his
Yeah.
lifetime, he was only out for like 16 years.
So he was in for 17 up until the age of 32, and then he was out for 1 year and went back in for life. So,
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, he only was out. I mean, we've already spent twice as much time out of jail than this guy did in
Than
his
he
entire
ever
life.
did in his life. Yeah, that's crazy. To really break it down and think about it like that.
Pretty
Yeah.
wild.
During that time, she did give birth to Charles Manson Jr.
That's
Wow.
nice.
Again with
Again,
the gang.
yeah. Well, he was so big on his name, I guess.
Less than 2 weeks before a scheduled parole hearing, Manson tried to escape by stealing a car. He was given 5 years of probation and his parole was denied. So 8 years. And his wife divorces him.
Gee, I wonder why.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least he didn't beat her with a cane, or
That's
vice
right,
versa.
right.
You know.
To be exact, it was in September of 1958 that they divorced. Manson received 5 years parole, the same year in which Rosalie received a decree of divorce. By November, he was pimping a 16-year-old girl and receiving additional support from a girl with wealthy parents. In 1959, he pleaded guilty to a charge of attempting to cash a forged U.S. Treasury check, which he claimed to have stolen from a mailbox. The latter charge was later dropped, and he received a 10-year suspended sentence and probation after a young woman named Leona Ray Candy Stevens, who had an arrest record for prostitution, made a tearful plea not to send him to jail.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course not. She was, believing him, and yes, it's okay. Let me get these tears going,
Right. She said that she was deeply in love and would marry if Charlie was free.
But when he was a young guy, he was a good looking guy.
He
right?
was. I
Yeah.
won't like
Right?
he was a decent looking person when he was young.
Yeah.
Not my type, but decent looking. Not my type.
It's not my type, too. What about you,
Yeah.
Chris?
I kind of like the hair, but
Chris is only saying that because he doesn't have hair. That's all.
He's envious of us.
Yeah. Yeah, wow, Chris is singing for us. You guys are really catching a special show tonight. Chris in his show tunes. Christoph.
Manson took Leona and another woman to New Mexico for purposes of prostitution, resulting in him being held and questioned for violating the Mann Act. So again, he's in trouble.
violating the what?
Mann Act.
Oh, okay. So I want to go back real quick to where he was pimping out the 16-year-old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he had a girl that he was mooching money off of her parents on the side. How in the hell do you coordinate that and get away with that? Or did the girl he was pimping out know about
Have
it?
you have you looked to see what he looks like when he was younger?
I did, but it's been a while. Was
If-
he like that hot?
He was an attractive-looking young man at this time.
But
not to mention, he was a smooth talker and
Yeah.
manipulative. So he probably had it all worked out, or thought that he did.
So the girl parents he was mooching, I wonder if he was mooching it through her to get the money from her parents, or if her parents actually knew what was going on. That's
Yeah,
the
it was
big
kind of
question.
like, hey, give me some money, help me. And the daughter went to her parents and said, Mom and Dad, I need money
Yeah.
for the thing and the stuff. And
Yeah.
they gave
And
it to
you-
her, and then she gave it to him.
And
That's
depending
probably what it was.
on how many times he pimped the 16-year-old out, like how many Johns and stuff she was hooking up with, he could have had plenty of time to go see this person.
Yeah, that's true, because when he's the pimp, he's pretty much dropping her off, picking her up type deal.
He's like, hey, you have to be here at this time for this person.
Yeah. That's bizarre, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. It's messed up what he did, but kudos to him for holding down two chicks. Yeah.
How old was he at that time? This was what?
That was
probably in the
in
40s?
Yeah.
in the 50s.
So he would have been
So
in
he'd
his
been
20s.
Early 20s or something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that.
Now, you asked what the Mann Act was.
Yeah.
The Mann Act was previously called the White Slave Traffic Act of 1910. It's now a United States federal law passed June 25th, 1910, codified as amended in something. But it pretty much, it's a violation of law if you take them and you're sex slaving and trafficking white women for other places in different states and everything. It's a slave law. It covers people's ass.
So it's basically like human trafficking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. There we go. That's all we need.
Yes.
Going down codes and things.
All right.
Codified.
College guy over here.
So yeah, that was
this
in
guy.
58 that he was pimping the 16-year-old.
Okay, so you would have been 20. But
Yeah.
once again, I mean, things in the 50s, 60s, like,
They're different.
were a bit different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody had their thing back then.
Well, yeah.
Well, from last week, she was a professional hooker.
Professional.
Remember?
Professional.
So Manson technically would have been a professional pimp,
Professional.
But we not sure what gang sign that was. Please don't
No
take
gang
that
signs,
personal.
promise.
Not intentional.
Not intentional, I promise.
She thinks she's in the hood every once in a while.
Though he was released, Manson correctly suspected that the investigation had not ended. When he disappeared in violation of his probation, a bench warrant was issued. Yet again, in 1960, an indictment for violation of the Mann Act followed, following the arrest of one of the women for prostitution. Manson was arrested in June in Laredo, Texas that year, and was returned to Los Angeles for violating his probation, on the check cashing charge. He was ordered to serve his 10-year sentence.
And he probably didn't serve all 10 years.
Well, he spent a whole year trying to appeal the revocation of his probation, and in July of 61, he was transferred from Los Angeles County Jail to the United States Penitentiary at McNeil Island, Washington, where he learned to play the guitar.
Oh, so now he's going to bring out the musical side in him.
Oh,
You
and he
know?
actually was pretty decent at it.
It's surprisingly he was. He was. Manson's mother moved to Washington State to be closer to him during his McNeil Island incarceration, working as a waitress nearby. Although the Mann Act charge has been dropped, the attempt to cash the Treasury check was still a federal offense, and Manson's September 1961 annual review noted he had tremendous drive to call attention to himself. An observation echoed in September of 64. In 63, Leona was granted a divorce, which was his second wife. During the process, she alleged that she and Manson had a son, Charles Luther Manson, so another Charlie Manson Jr., just a different middle name.
This guy is really
So that's
infatuated with his name.
4 Charles Mansons and 3 juniors.
Jeez.
Yeah. According to popular urban legend, Manson auditioned unsuccessfully for the Monkees in the late 1965. Both of you, hush your faces.
I didn't say shit.
Hey, the monkeys.
Yeah.
People say they monkey around.
In late 1965. This is refuted by the fact that Manson was still incarcerated at McNeil Island for that time. So there really wouldn't have been a way for him to audition if he was in jail.
Yeah.
So I had a fan send me a picture of him, of one of his mug shots when he was younger. Okay. He was good looking. Okay, I could see why he could get him now. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that makes sense.
In June of 1966, Manson was sent for the second time to Terminal Island in preparation for early release. So he was not spending those 10 years there.
Of course not.
By the time of his release in March 21st, 1967, he has spent more than half of his 32 years in prison. And he did make a comment about that release that was really interesting to me.
I didn't want to go.
No.
I believe
He
he
said,
like I was saying, he was kind of institutionalized.
Yeah.
It's kind of like he liked
he
being
said,
there.
it's a quote, Manson is released from prison March 21st, 1967. He tells the officials he does not want to be released. He stated, "Oh no, I can't go outside there. I knew that I couldn't adjust to that world. Not after all my life had been spent locked up where my mind was free." After his release, he ended up finding his way to San Francisco.
Wow, yeah, so he
knew what he was going to do if he went back out.
Yeah, which is crazy because you don't hear a lot of them doing that or talking like that. You
Well,
know?
I think he just couldn't find the means to actually get by in the real world. Now, I think he knew it. I think he knew it. I think he was, and how he grew up and everything. Like, it was strained to the point where he knew he couldn't operate in a real life
Unless he was doing something bad.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah,
Unless he and that's the only thing he had learned, right? Was how to get by. Same thing as Eileen Warnos that we covered last week. The only way I'm going to get by is if I commit crimes, rob stores.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to move into when he moved from his parole, where he starts forming that cult.
Okay.
His family.
Oh, yeah.
Less than a month after his 1967 release, Manson moved to Berkeley from Los Angeles, which it could have violated his probation, but he actually went as soon as he got out there and registered with his new probation officer.
Was it parole or
It was It could have been a probation violation. Instead, after calling the San Francisco probation office upon his arrival, he transferred to the supervision of criminology doctoral researcher and federal probation officer Roger Smith.
Oh.
So he was still on probation, but he actually followed the rules and went and registered.
Okay.
What a nice guy.
He was trying to identify as you, Chris.
Look at that.
Criminology.
Oh, no. That was the probation officer. That was
He was a criminology doctoral researcher, too.
Roger.
Yep, Roger Smith.
Roger Smith.
Until this. So Smith had worked at the Haight-Ashbury Free Medical Clinic, which Manson and his family came to frequent. Roger Smith was the well-known founder, as well as the founder David Smith received funding from the National Institute of Health and reportedly the CIA. Manson received permission from Roger Smith to move to Berkeley to go to the Ashbury district. He first took LSD and would use it frequently during this time there. David Smith, who had studied the effects of LSD and amphetamines in rodents, wrote that the change in Manson's personalities during this time was the most abrupt Roger Smith had observed in his entire professional career. Manson also read the book Stranger in a Strange Land, a science fiction novel by Robert Robert H.
It sounds good. Age.
Now, he was inspired by the burgeoning free love philosophy and Haight-Ashbury during the Summer of Love. Manson began preaching his own philosophy based on a mixture of Stranger in a Strange Land, the Bible, Scientology, Dale Carnegie, and the Beatles, which quickly earned him a following. He also borrowed some of his philosophy from the Process Church of the Final Judgment, who members believed in Satan, and became reconciled to Jesus that would come together at the end of the world to judge humanity. So they thought Jesus and Satan were going to become besties.
Got to be a lot of drugs involved, you know.
LSD, amphetamines.
Yeah. Never taken it, and I just can't. You know, we were talking about it before the show. It's. I mean, I don't know because none of us have done it, but it's like, how did it make you feel? You know, what did it? Because Chris, you were saying it probably didn't give you a high, probably didn't give you a low, so it's kind of like, you know,
yeah, just a psychedelic drug. So you just
kind of
like a relaxed state, maybe.
Kind of like what's it? Acid, they say, kind of takes you on a trip.
Oh, that's what LSD is.
Oh, okay. See, shows how much I don't know about the shit, you know.
Oh, that's what they were doing with dropping acid.
So yeah, so then it's just taking you on a trip, Pink Floyd style, you know.
Yes, exactly. They were seeing pink, flowery thing, colory stuff. Although, you know, I knew guys that had taken this stuff throughout my life. I knew one guy that took all his clothes off and laid in the middle of a road when it was raining. You know, I mean, so like, it made you do some funny stuff.
Take
you know,
his clothes off and lay down. Okay.
Just people have some do some things.
Maybe, maybe he wanted to become one with the asphalt.
Might become it's just ill-advised actions you probably might take while you are imbibing.
So I wonder, when you're high on it, then I wonder if you pretty much don't have control of your body and the body movements and stuff, or if you still would.
I think the hallucinations, I think, are the most profound.
Okay.
You know, in that. So well, it's like mushrooms times 10. So
okay,
you know, you might be sitting here and soon maybe, you know, the girl in the corner over here is talking to you.
Oh, that shit would drive me nuts.
Or she's got a head and you're imagining it.
I couldn't do that. No, thank you.
Starts talking to you and she walks out of the room and something comes back to you with a plate of food.
I'm sitting here like this and you guys are like, are you going to talk? No, I'm getting fed right now. You know? No, thank you.
We're gonna get to Manson gets his first official follower who will follow him through everything now.
Okay, well, this is the first victim to his cult.
His first follower, his first lamb. The first lamb.
Oh, the lamb. That's what we're going to call it.
The lamb to the slaughter.
The lamb.
Shortly after relocating to San Francisco, Manson became acquainted with Mary Brunner. Brunner or Brunner? I think it's Brunner. She was a 23-year-old graduate of the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Brunner was working as a library assistant at the University of California, Berkeley, and Manson, until that point making his living by panhandling, moved in with her. Manson then met teenage runaway Lynette Fromm, who he later nicknamed Squeaky. That was the one we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And convinced her to live with him in Brunner. According to a secondhand account, Manson overcame Brunner's initial resistance to him bringing other women to live with them. Before long, they were sharing Brunner's residence with 18 other women.
Now that's a brothel.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not a full-blown, but, you know. That's God.
His preference for these women were the ones that he could individually manipulate who were emotionally insecure and social outcasts.
Oh, that makes sense. Like what we were talking about before, he was professional at that, and that's, I'm sure, like what we were just, talking about when you're on that drug, tripping and stuff, it's probably easier to get them to kind of do what you want them to do.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think if you're hallucinating or you're taking LSD on a regular basis with this guy and he's preaching rhetoric to you and all this nonsense, I think it's probably, you probably digest it during that period where you're actually high. And then even when you come to and you're no longer high, you probably hold it, a lot higher in regard than you probably would had he preached it to you when you were sober. Because I think if you weren't high, and he wasn't telling you all this stuff and telling you how he could save the world and make you a better person, like eventually, 18 people hanging around inside of a house start talking to each other. They're like, this guy's kind of fucking nuts.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Yeah.
But they weren't having those conversations. They're like, yeah, he knows what he's talking
Yeah,
about.
they're all.
Yeah, he was talking about it. Jesus came in and was talking to us. And then he left.
Well, at this time, he had himself established as a guru pretty much during the Summer of Love.
Oh, yeah.
So
Hippie
he was,
fest and...
Right.
He's preaching all of these things, getting his group of followers that later became the Manson family.
Yeah, and that's pretty much your best type groups to kind of get into,
He was an opportunist, man. I mean, it was like the guy when I was in college. This guy used to sell gyros outside the bar at 2:30 in the morning. He was the smartest damn guy I've ever met in my entire life.
Yeah.
But he was an opportunist. But he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you're walking out of a bar at 2:30 in the morning, closing a bar, and you got a pocket full of money, and you're a college student. You're eating a damn gyro.
Taco Bell or that.
That's happening.
Yeah.
I don't care whether you're hungry or not.
Well, yeah,
you're
because
buying it.
you're right there. You don't have to drive anywhere to get it.
Right.
You don't have to say, hey, let's all jump in the car and go get some Taco Bell.
No chance of dying.
No.
Yeah, the guy's right in front of you.
Right. So in this case, I think he knew what he was doing.
He was.
You're taking advantage of people, and you knew it.
Well, he was preaching to them that they were the reincarnation of the original Christians, and that the establishment could be characterized as the Romans. So they preached to him that they were special.
Well, that period of time was very, a lot of people were anti. There was a lot of anti-government. There was a lot of. I think even the shootings at Kent State, I think, happened around that period of time, like in the 60s and stuff.
Yeah.
So I wonder if a part of this, if a certain amount of this, if he actually believed what he was preaching them, or if he just knew he was feeding them lines of bullshit.
I think I'll be honest. I think he believed him. He thought so great of himself that he was going to make other people think just as greatly of him.
Well, see, the reason I mention it is because they say certain pathological liars, they actually get to a point with it where they believe what they're telling you. And then you have ones too that can't even keep track of their lives. But I'm wondering if he was one of those in this case where he actually believed what he was preaching.
Oh, certainly. I would imagine that's probably the case. There's a lot of people out there that think that the world is it's obviously going to end before I die. I'm the reason why the world's here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you develop that kind of perception and you're appealing to grandeur or whatever and God and everything else. You feel universe-centric and everything's just floating around you. And I think, maybe narcissism or whatever have you, but I think that he probably did. He probably believed
a lot of what he was preaching.
The vast majority of what he
he
was
convinced them to spend enough time to travel on a bus all together, all 18 of them.
Yeah.
Plus, he got Brunner knocked up in 1967. And guess what?
Oh, God.
She has a son.
What is it, Charles Jr.
The
Jr.?
third?
Yeah.
No. She broke the cycle. With a worse name.
Oh, yeah. This one's brutal.
Valentine Michael.
Well, imagine that kid getting picked on in school.
He was born on April 15th, 1968, while they were living in the bus.
He could go by a name like Val or something, like Val Kilmer. He had a cool name, Val. I
They were in a condemned house in a canyon when she had them. I was wrong.
Wow. What a place to have a kid. Water birth, maybe that's what it was. To use the tub for water birth.
So we mentioned David Smith, who had researched LSD and the effects of it.
Yeah.
He said that Manson was able to get his followers to submit totally to his will through the use of LSD and unconventional sexual practices that would turn his followers into empty vessels that would accept anything he poured. He would give his followers twice the amount that he would take so he could keep his wits about him and preach to his followers.
Okay. So, yeah.
He very much knew what he was doing.
Yeah,
he
he
did.
very much knew what he was doing. Here, you take this.
It
Why
was
does it look like you're taking less?
It was his way of programming them to submit to his will.
So, I mean, I'm just trying to wrap my head around all this shit in the way that he did it. Because, like I said, I never got into drugs and stuff. When they're submitting to him high on LSD, it must stay in the brain to where when they're off of it, they're still submitted to him. I mean, that's what's crazy to me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think maybe when they were taking LSD, maybe their egos were set aside in such a fashion, or their rational thought was set aside to the point where they were digesting this stuff, and it was much more meaningful to them due to the fact that they were much less critical or conscious of what exactly was taking place.
Yeah.
And then I think you jump back out of it. Right. I think they look back at it and they're like, wow, he really loves me, you know? And,
yeah.
He really knows what's going on.
Do you think that LSD cuts off the logical side that makes sense and puts things into perspective so that way you fall for whatever it is?
Wow. You just went from 0 to 1,000 with D. What?
Well, he's sitting here talking about it, and I'm
That's
just like,
true.
Just thinking, if you think about your brain, you have the two sides. One side does all of your logical thinking and your processing and comes together to work with the other to make things make sense. What if it shuts that side of your brain down and you just believe everything you want to believe, and then it has a hard time turning that side back on?
Well, that's kind of what I was saying. Like, you digest all that stuff, and there's nothing fighting it. There's no rationalization of, you know, hey, this guy might be nuts. So you're not even. That's not even washing over you. You're just kind of taking what he says for being gospel. And,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's true because I think they said, is it the left side of the brain that controls motor function? Or was it the right? I can't remember. One of them controls motor functions and the other one controls like logical thinking and like what, Classroom Jackie's talking about. And I'm trying to remember because I used to know a little bit about that when I was in EMS and stuff. But yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's a good question, Jackie, if you think about it.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, because like I said, I never did that stuff, so I don't really know. But he must have done a lot of research on it to where trying to think, to where he knew the effects it was going to have.
Well, that guy, David Smith, it was either David Smith or Roger Smith, was doing experiments on the effects of LSD and amphetamines on rodents. So what if he was talking to Manson about this and Manson took what he said to that? As well as we have one of our fans just messaged us. We have somebody from the Titusville Police Department in Pennsylvania watching us right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's the lieutenant.
Yep.
Lieutenant.
I have known him since I was a little kid.
Way to call the guy out. Jeez. Played off natural.
I'm going to go get the really cool thing that you got sent to
us.
Sent to us yesterday for you.
So, continue. Yeah, Classroom Jackie just decides when she's going to leave the shoe, right. She's just like, well.
Whatever.
Yeah, okay.
You see how it is.
Fuck you guys, I'm out. So now we're kind of getting into trying to remember where she left off here. So they had gotten the bus Jackie had mentioned, and took all 18 of the girls, and then they traveled around the world and stuff. So let me see here. Manson was arrested July 31st, 1967, for attempting to prevent the arrest of one of his followers, Ruth Morehouse. And instead of Manson being sent back to prison, which he somehow got out of this, the charge was reduced to a misdemeanor, and Manson was given 3 additional years of, probation. So once again, he got out of that. It's like, well, we're not going to send you back.
Yeah, that guy just keeps getting community service. Like, yeah, we're just gonna have you spray paint some fire hydrants and shit. You'll be back on the street.
Yeah, right.
No big deal.
So he avoided prosecution again in July 1968 when he and the family were arrested while moving to L.A. After the bus crashed into a ditch, Manson and members of his family, including Brunner and Manson's newborn baby, were found sleeping naked by the police.
Oh.
So afterwards, he was again arrested and released only a few days later, this time on a drug charge. So once again, arrested and released again. The amount of times that he was arrested, let go on good behavior, or talked his way out of things.
Yeah, this guy was untouchable. He's like the John Gotti of the hippies.
Yeah,
just like you couldn't pin shit to this dude. Well, you could, but it didn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard of anybody that this many times that just could get arrested for some pretty crazy charges too.
Yeah.
It's not like he's just getting arrested for little misdemeanor shit. I mean,
right.
The one was reduced to it. I mean, he was attempted, or he was sent to prison on a federal charge, and then it was reduced to a misdemeanor. It's like, what kind of connections are you do to get this shit reduced, dude?
Kind of makes you wonder.
Yeah, absolutely, ma'am. So kind of moving ahead a little bit, then he got, now we're going to kind of jump into his involvement here, where he started, he wanted to get his music out there. So he started to write a little bit of music. And what's crazy that he did was, for some reason, what he did was he sent a couple of his followers out to drive the streets and pretend like they needed help, and to try to pick up and stop a musician or a famous person, so then they could put his name out there.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you have 20 people running around. Eventually, you'll flag somebody down that matters.
Oh yeah, because they were in a part where, you've got all these people walking around, whether they're, actors, actresses, all that. And so he's pretty much like, oh, here, I'm going to take a few girls. I don't remember how many he took. I think it was like 5 girls. And he's like, just go drive around and see if you can.
Right. Yeah,
maybe
just go hang out on Mulholland Drive or one of the places.
Or no, I'm sorry. What it was they were going to try to hitchhike. They were walking, and then they would wait for him to drive by. And they so happen, one of the guys they catch is Dennis Wilson, the drummers of the Beach Boys. So they end up, Malibu is where they were, 2 of the girls were hitchhiking.
Yeah.
And he just so happened to be driving by, and he picked them up and dropped them off at their destination. Well, on April 11th, Wilson noticed the same 2 girls hitchhiking again, and this time took them to his home at 14400 Sunset Boulevard. Wilson later recalled that he told the 2 girls about our involvement and the Maharishi, and they told me they had a guru, a guy named Charlie Manson, who recently come out of jail after 12 years. So Wilson then went to the recording studio. When he returned later that night, he was met in the driveway by Manson. How ironic, I'm just
I wasn't expecting you.
Yeah,
hey.
Right. Hey, here I am.
It was pretty. I mean, it's a pretty good idea. I mean, I think Manson, one of his biggest intentions was to get involved in the music scene. He wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, well, let's just do crime. This is what he do.
Yeah.
So he just commit crimes to get money because you gotta eat, you gotta live, and that was the only way he knew to do it. But I think his intention was to be supposed to be a rock star.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so the way that he formed this plan together, and just what are the odds too that they're hitchhiking and that they just so happen to come across this guy, because people that stop, they got to like look at him and be like, oh, is this a musician? Is this not? You know?
Well, that's what they probably put him on streets that are like, hey, all these big ass houses is where all these people live.
People,
so
yeah, you're
just,
bound to see one of them.
That's what I'm saying, right? Eventually, you're going to get somebody because nobody's traveling around those communities probably unless you live there.
Or he just got really, really good luck.
He could. It could be a case of that too. I mean, he's gotten good luck with everything else that's happened thus this far.
And he sent 2 of his female followers to hitchhike in partially dressed clothes. So
and that's
somebody's going to pick him up.
So later that night, Dennis, drummer of the Beach Boys, when he returned home from the studio, like I said, Manson met him in his driveway because he had, Wilson had already taken the 2 girls back to his house, so Manson knew where the guy lived. Wilson, when Wilson walked into his home, about a dozen people were occupying the premises, most of them young women. So he knew what he was doing. This drummer is coming home and he's got about a dozen chicks, which I'm sure they all look pretty good, are walking around his property. I mean, hell, if that happened here, which, please, any girls out there, come on, occupy the property. But if I came home and that happened, I mean, this guy's not going to be like, get out of my property, get off of here.
I'm not really feeling this. I got to go.
Manson actually arranged for some of his female followers to live at that house and be his servants and pretty much do everything. It was for 6 months that he had them stay there and do that.
Well, yeah, who wouldn't want that? As a guy, as a young dude, you know what I mean? A drummer in his band and stuff that people knew. Who wouldn't want some chick staying at you, taking care of you, and doing everything
like
you
terrible time.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
Part of me wonders if Wilson had promised him, like, oh, if you can arrange this, I'll get you this.
Could have been.
I think that was the.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or it was just Manson's manipulation. Some of us had a hard time saying that. You know? Sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean, you basically scratch somebody's back, and then, I mean, he lived the prison life. He did somebody a favor. He knows how that works.
Yeah, and Wilson ended up introducing him to the Byrds producer, Terry Melcher, in return for some of this stuff, and let him record, 80 songs in his recording studio?
Yeah, something like that.
80 songs. Did you know you can still find the albums and listen to them?
No, I did not.
Mm-hmm. They are the prison records now.
Oh, the stuff that he recorded in there and everything, or wrote in there. Mm-hmm. So, so after he had about a dozen girls occupying, Wilson's home, Wilson was initially fascinated by Manson's, followers that he had.
Oh, I'm sure.
Which I would be too as a guy. I mean, I'm like, dude, how does this guy do this? He's got 18 women. Following him.
It wasn't because Manson was making great sandwiches.
And he's got enough control to make them come stay at my house for 6 months.
Yeah, right. I mean, maybe he made a really good peanut butter and jelly. I don't know. Hopefully,
she's like the most comfortable damn thing I've ever slept.
Yeah, right. So, so Wilson referred to Manson because he was infatuated with that. The Wizard in a rave magazine. That's what he referred to as Manson. The Wizard, which that's only going to boost Manson's head, make it bigger,
Absolutely.
It's going to be like, wow, this guy's calling me. All right, cool. So the two ended up striking a really good friendship over the next few months. Members of the Manson family, mostly women who were treated as servants, like Jackie was just saying, were housed in Wilson's home. The arrangement pre-existed for about, you said 6 months.
Yeah.
And then Wilson introduced Manson to a few friends in the music business, like you had stated, the Byrds. And then he had recorded his couple of songs. And then Wilson eventually had distanced himself from Manson and moved out of the Sunset house, leaving the family there, and took residence at a basement apartment.
Well, he did that because Manson recorded a song. It was supposed to be taken back. So Dennis Wilson and Terry Melcher recorded a song in '68. It was originally called Cease to Exist, but it was relabeled as Never Learn Not to Love and on single B-side release the following December by the Beach Boys. Wilson was the only person who got credit for it. Manson didn't. And when Manson confronted him, he pretty much threatened him and said, "Why am I not on this?" Yada yada. Threatened to kill him. Everything,
And
which
his
is why.
family, too. That's
Yeah,
right,
and his
his
family,
kids
and he
and-
knew where he lived too, which was the
Yes.
scary thing.
Yes.
Never
Scary
learn
thing.
not to love. I mean, the double negative there is just disturbing. Why couldn't you call it learn to love?
Mhm.
But I mean, yeah, that's like totally two different opposites when it comes to, you know, what the song was originally named
Yeah.
to what they changed it to.
Oh, it's far apart.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I
it's
mean,
like, okay,
one sounds rather depressing. The other one sounds rather romantically lovable.
and I mean, technically, Manson probably could have just gone after him, and I wonder if he could have just sued him because
So he couldn't.
no,
No, because Wilson lied to Manson and said that he relinquished his rights to the song.
oh, so that's how he got him.
Mhm.
Okay, so Wilson knew what he was doing.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's in that business.
Yeah.
In that time, Manson and his family did about $100,000 worth of stuff that they stole and destroyed 2 of Wilson's luxury cars before he moved out because of
That's
that.
a bummer.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, he did separate himself. Wilson recalled a concern after Manson got into much heavier drug situations, taking a tremendous amount of acid, and Dennis wouldn't tolerate it and asked him to leave. It was difficult because he was afraid of Charlie. Writing in a 2016 memoir, Wilson recalled Manson shooting a black man in half with an M16 rifle and hiding the body inside a well. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
He-
News.
Melcher says that Wilson had been aware that the family were killing people and was so freaked out he just didn't want to live anymore. He was afraid and thought that he should have gone to the authorities, but he didn't, and the rest of it happened. So now we're getting into the Span Ranch time.
Oh yeah, getting into the meat and potatoes.
We're up to right
Spawn.
before
Spawn
our
Ranch.
stop of the first episode.
What?
Did I called it Span?
No,
You
you
call
call
it
it
spam.
spam.
I don't know what spam.
Which makes me think of a can of spam.
Spam.
Which I knew
spam
people that
ranch.
used to eat that straight out of a can. That's disgusting.
You cut it into like little things. Grill it. It's not so bad. I think that's the only way you can make it edible.
Do they still even make that
They
shit?
do, and
Oh,
we know one person who eats the living poop out of it,
you can say shit on here. It's okay.
the living shit out of it.
Thank you. So, okay, so now, a little bit with the, a little bit kind of going up. So now we have the Spawn Ranch. So Manson had established a base for the family, which he called the Spawn Ranch. So he's way beyond and moved out of the whole, we're going to travel in a bus crash into a ditch and all that shit, you know? So Spawn Ranch was created and started in August of 1968. That was after their eviction from Dennis Wilson's residence.
Oh yeah, it was an
Yeah.
old movie set.
And the
which is,
ranch had been a television and movie set for the Westerns, but the buildings had deteriorated by the late 1960s, and the ranch then derived revenue primarily from selling horseback rides.
And that guy still, I mean, there was a guy that owned
There was
the
an
ranch.
80-year-old guy, George Span.
He just still hung out there.
Mm-hmm. The women acted as guides for him, and Manson ordered them to have sex with him whenever he wanted.
Oh, so this guy.
Too, yeah.
This guy had it going on.
Yeah, this guy's like, well, before I was just doing horseback riding, and now I'm banging women, you know? I mean, this is great. 80 and load me up with some Blue Chew
So,
pills. And I'm
providing
good to go.
rides.
Yeah.
They didn't have blue chew
Well,
back
yeah,
then.
I understand that, but this guy.
It was a bee sting.
It was
a lot of popsicle sticks, duct tape.
Bee stings.
I hope I never get stung by a bee next year because I'm gonna think of this 80-year-old guy now. But I mean, this guy, this guy's getting more action than I probably have just by you know. But
right place at the right time.
They didn't have to pay anything because of the arrangement that they had, so they got to live there completely free.
Well, yeah, he probably had a lot of money. I mean, when you own a ranch like that, it takes
just
a
the
lot of
property.
money.
I mean, they were only weren't they like only 15 minutes removed from like Los Angeles proper?
They were pretty close.
I think they were relatively close, and to have that kind of property that close to a large city like that, I mean, even at the time, he probably was doing okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then this comes along, and being 80, he probably felt alone to a point, and he's like, now I've got company, I've got women here, beautiful
I've got
girls,
all the attention, everything that I
Well,
want.
and when the whole thing started to get going, like it wasn't like a military installment like it ended up becoming. It was more of just like a bunch of people that wanted to hug and love each other living in a hill.
do drugs and have sex. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
It's also the time that he got his doomsday belief in the cult of the ball.
Oh yeah, that's when stuff really starts kind of taking a turn for south for the worse there. Yeah, so they were, so I'm trying to understand kind of what they mean, and maybe I'm just not bright with it. But when they said that the women acted as guides for him, like what do they mean? Like
he was probably
servants,
probably partially blind or couldn't see very well, is what I was thinking.
Oh,
or they would guide him to different rooms, different women, things like those.
I got you. Yeah, because I read that as guides, and I'm thinking like maybe servants to him or something. I don't know. Hey, do you need this? You need something to eat? You need us to get groceries?
Yeah,
we'll go and do whatever. You want me to put Braille on my boobs? I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, feel around.
What's it say?
So
I'm sorry.
Kind of leading up. That's why she's gonna wear a dunce cap next week.
Yep.
So you were saying leading up to the doomsday beliefs now.
So Manson became obsessed and fixated on the idea of an imminent apocalyptic race war between American black minorities and the larger white population. A white supremacist, Manson told some of the family that black people would rise up and kill the entire white population, except for Manson and his followers. But they were not intelligent enough to survive on their own. They needed a white man to lead them, and so they would serve Manson as their master. In late 1968, Manson adopted the term helter-skelter, taken from a song on the Beatles' recently released White Album to refer to his upcoming war.
So,
what was Helter Skelter originally? Because I was slightly confused when we were talking about it.
Well, that's the name he gave his little Armageddon that he was referring to was Helter Skelter. He was talking about that was going to be, like you said, the race war between the blacks and the whites, where the blacks were going to overcome them and take over, and eventually they were going to hand off the power back to whoever, like I guess Manson and his followers, and they were going to be like the guys who ruled the country or the world, or I don't know what it was. But at the end of the day, it was like a doomsday kind of prophetic, like, hey, this is going to happen, the whole world's going to end. And I think a lot of them didn't know any better. I mean, in addition to being on drugs regularly, you're also pretty isolated as well. So, just assuming that, yeah, this guy's crazy, they probably were making the assumption, yeah, this probably could happen. And maybe it is happening right now. Maybe it's beginning to happen, like Charlie's saying it is. But they don't know any better because they're off the grid, right?
Yeah, pretty much, and that's a good way of putting it. That's how they were kind of living it too.
Yeah, because I didn't hear anything about TV or anything like that.
No, they. Once again, Manson was smart about it, and he knew what he was doing, so he probably tried to keep things off the grid.
Oh yeah, you're
for
trying
as long
to
as he
control
could,
all these people, and you have that many people there. Yeah, you probably want to limit, your access to the outside world as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, did we want to talk about the first encounter that he had with Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate?
Yeah, that's
It
fine.
wasn't.
Yeah, we're okay on time here, so we're gonna touch base here on the first time he kind of ran into them, and then yeah, go
No.
ahead.
I'm going to preface this beforehand because it's a little scattered on this. The address that Wilson lived at, or Melcher, 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 I believe was his last name.
Okay.
That address was 10,050 Cielo Drive in California. That is the address that eventually is going to be the fate of where Sharon Tate dies.
Yeah.
He had been there multiple times after Melcher moved out, so he knew this area perfectly, like the whole house, the layout, everything. On March 23rd, 1969, Manson entered the grounds of 10,050 Cielo Drive, which he had known as Melcher's residence. He was not invited. As he approached the main house, Manson was met by, I'm going to butcher the first name, so I'm just going to call him Mr. H. Mr. H, an Iranian photographer who had befriended film director Roman Polanski and his wife Sharon Tate during the making of a documentary, Mia and Roman. Mr. H was there to photograph Tate before she left for Rome the following day. Seeing Manson approach, Mr. H went onto the front porch to ask him what he wanted. Manson said he was there looking for Melcher, whose name Mr. H did not recognize. He told him the place was the Polanski residence and then advised him to try the path to the guest house beyond the main house. Tate appeared behind him in the house's front door and asked him who was calling. Mr. H and Tate maintained their positions while Manson went back to the guest house without a word, returning to the front a minute or two after they left.
So that would be weird if you're Sharon
Mm-hmm.
and you're
just
just
a
in there,
random guy.
and you're like a random guy, and then he just goes to the guest house and then comes back up and leaves.
Yeah, right.
So,
Like, okay.
Thanks for coming.
Manson returned later that evening and again went to the guest house. He entered the enclosed porch and spoke with Otto Belli, the owner, who had just come out of the shower. Manson asked for Melcher, but Mr. A felt that Manson was instead looking for him. It was later discovered that Manson had apparently been to the property on multiple occasions after Melcher left. So he knew the layout of it. Mr. A told Manson that through the screen door that Melcher had moved to Malibu and said he did not know his new address, although he did. Mr. A told Manson he was leaving the country the next day, and Manson said he would like to speak to him upon his return. He said he would be gone for more than a year, and Manson was directed to the guest house by the persons in the main house again.
So that's kind of a good stopping point for that right there. So yeah, it's
confusing.
Yeah, well, but I mean,
it is noted that when Mr. A and Tate flew out the next day, she asked him about the creepy looking guy because she saw him.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it struck a couple of red flags.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
I mean, this guy coming in here asking for somebody that's not even there.
Right.
Going to the guest house because Mr. H said to go there, and then coming back a minute or two later, and then just, all right, bye. Didn't even approach
No, just
Kate, and tell her, oh, I was looking for so-and-so. So, yeah, that's kind of where things that we'll discuss next week in part 2 start really getting pretty wild, which I'm sure a lot of people know about. But after unpacking a lot of this in the beginning here, I've learned a lot. I mean, a lot of stuff I did not realize or know. And I think you guys said, too, that there's a couple good documentaries that you saw, too.
Oh, yeah.
Tubi is where you saw them at, right?
Yeah, there were many of them on there. I mean, there's a lot of information on Manson.
It's hard to unpack them.
Exactly. And in each individual one, as you find, I think we found this to be the case where you could have 10 documentaries on this guy, and each one will cover a different portion of his life.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, some obviously just focus on the murders and that whole thing, but I mean, like you said at the beginning, there's some that focus on his childhood, some focus on the cult, some focus on,
the family itself.
Yeah, his actual manipulation of everybody and how he accomplished what he wanted to accomplish. Some of them take it from the police point of view, into it. I mean, so there's just so many perspectives and ways to, break this thing down. So we're trying to do our best
I thought it was
to do that.
good, though. I mean, it's like I said, I learned a lot with it too, and there's a lot to throw at it. When we first started studying it on Thursday, there was even a point where I was like, shit, should I even do this one?
Oh
Because
yeah,
I didn't know
we got
mentally.
so much.
There was so much, and this was my pick too, by the way, for any new fans here. We've been going around between the three of us and doing our picks we're doing that for a little bit, and then we'll break off and do some different stuff with it. But this was my pick coming back to me, and I always kind of wanted to get more involved in his story. So that's why I chose him. But at first on Thursday, it was kind of like, I remember waking up Friday and I'm like, shit, did I maybe pick the wrong one? Did I open up a can of worms?
Oh yeah, like just after all of the trying to digest everything Thursday, I was like, this is too much.
Yeah, definitely. But we have one of our fans from the very beginning here used to be a professional wrestler. Garbage Man is what he went by.
Yeah, and he sent you something pretty cool.
He sent me something really cool, autographed it. It was something he used to use when he would perform. So I want to thank Garbage Man for that. This is pretty cool, and it's going to go here in the studio. We have not put it in the studio yet until now. It'll take a second there, and it'll show up. So this was cool. Signed it to me, and it says, to Tim, one of the two men I never beat. And then it has a picture of him down there back in his wrestling days. So it's kind of hard to see up on the camera, but that is going to have a spot here in the studio. So Garbage Man, we do appreciate your support. You brought us a lot of people. We appreciate everything that you do. And thank you for that, for the studio. If anybody else ever wants to send us anything at all, eventually I'm going to try to do a P.O. box and you can send stuff to us. That would be awesome.
For now, just
fill up the
message
studio. Yeah, for
Classroom
now,
Jackie, and she'll arrange something.
message her and she'll figure it out. We do appreciate we've got some more subscribers on here. 39 we're at, one away from 40. So maybe we can hit that 40, or maybe we already did during tonight's show.
If
I
we
don't
hit
know.
40, we can go live next week on our TikTok.
Yes. If we hit 40, that would be cool. We could go live on TikTok next week. We would appreciate that. Once again, though, as I was saying before, we want to thank the two sponsors. Definitely check them out. And also check out our social media platforms for sure. YouTube here. Subscribe if you don't already yet. It's free. To follow and sub to all of our stuff is all free. So we're not out to get people for all their money. But other than that, Criminology Chris, do you have anything for us tonight before we sign off?
Oh, I think we've done a pretty good job this week. I'm sure, once again, there's quite a bit to go over next week as we get into the actual, some of the more popular criminal activity he was involved in, at the end of the cult era. Or, hey, it wasn't too long after this. I mean, it honestly, like, he got out of prison, and it was only 1 year this guy really had all this time to accomplish all this stuff. So, I mean, he was moving at a record pace, and the amount that he accomplished, and the following that he had, and how he was able to do that in such a short period of time is just incredible.
Yeah.
But we'll follow up on the end times for him and his family.
Oh yeah, and if anybody out there knows of anybody that would definitely like this, have them watch tonight's episode and then come back next week, because it's going to be definitely a good one next week for sure. Classroom Jackie, do you have anything for us?
I hope everyone has a great week, and don't go forming any cults unless it's for our show.
That's good advice. Definitely.
We want a cult following in a
Order
good
show
way.
watching.
In a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. We'd like a cult.
Also, hi to everyone who's watching us in Canada and across the country.
Yes, we did
and
find
the
out we
world.
have. Yeah, we have 3% in quite a few countries now.
A lot of our TikToks come from Africa and
That's cool.
Canada.
That's cool. Yeah.
A lot of our likes.
So
it's
very
pretty
cool how the World Wide Web is working these days, you know.
The old World Wide Web, everybody.
Everybody.
www.
Yeah. But other than that, we hope you enjoy what's left of your weekend, guys. We do appreciate every one of our fans and every one of you. We could not keep doing this if it weren't for the support of everybody, so we do appreciate that. I'm your host, Tim, Criminology Chris, alongside of me here, and director of all social media platforms for us, Classroom Jackie. We appreciate you guys, and until next week,
Same crime time, same crime place.
good night, everybody.
Goodbye,
See
everybody.
ya.